get into micro front ends? I know that was one of the kind of questions that people had, and I think we kind of have, I guess, an example of that sort of with the plugin system. But micro front ends are, I don't know. To me, they're kind of an ill-defined concept. Like they make sense, but there's kind of multiple different ways of going about a micro front end. And the kind of popular one that I think we're talking about here is probably like a runtime micro front end, one where at runtime we're patching together multiple different pieces in order to kind of compose together a UI. So there's a couple of different, I guess, existing frameworks and tools that I am familiar with that use an approach essentially like micro front ends. However, they're all very strongly opinionated. Like there's not kind of like at least to my awareness, a standard for how micro front ends work. There's different tools that kind of have them work in different ways. Webpack, for example, their way of managing micro front ends is more through bundles. I think it's called like federated bundles or something like that, where essentially you're building a module, you're building like a library, and you are now hosting that library, and someone else, when building their website, can render or can reference that module. So that's kind of equivalent to like what a micro front end approach would look like, which is similar to the kind of plugin system that we've built into Demo React Chat, just as an example, basically. I'd love if there are people that have kind of more experience with micro front ends, like particular frameworks. If there are things that you're interested in knowing about, I can dive into those. But otherwise, I can kind of talk about how this plugin architecture works, which is equivalent to micro front ends in the sense that you are building a module which contains the logic, the dependencies, all of that for some experience, which could be, a single individual custom message type, for example, is kind of the example that I'll be giving here. But it could be something much larger. You could have multiple message types in there. You could have, a whole separate widget that pops up. There's really kind of no end to like what you could put in that bundle. It's just a matter of like how those bundles actually interact. Like what is one bundle getting from another bundle? Is it just a React component that you're rendering? Or is it like something more complex? Because I think one thing that isn't handled very well for micro front ends at like higher scales is kind of state management across these different front ends, because you essentially now need to patch into some existing state management, not necessarily a framework, but some kind of a system that all of these different bundles are able to, read from, write to. And if that state management system changes at all, you have this like strong coupling between all of these systems, which is generally hard to reason about, hard to maintain. So I'm going to be talking about this kind of plugin architecture that I've devised as just an example in Demo React Chat of what can be done. And let me know if this is kind of in alignment or not in alignment with what you wanted to know more about. So basically the way that this kind of plugin system works is, similar to how we would want micro front ends to work. A developer can build this plugin. They can develop it. They can bundle it as some, JavaScript file essentially, or maybe more than just a JavaScript file, but some assets that can be pulled down from a server. And then a running React Chat, instance, or web chat instance can be set up to point at those plugins and essentially pull in, whatever code is contained within those plugins. And through some kind of interface should be able to kind of merge those two things. So let's say the plugin exposes, again, a custom message type. We should be able to consume that plugin, register it, and now be able to render the custom message type that's contained within it. So that's basically what's being shown here in this plugin. Is we have this little plugin project where I have just this main TS file, a plugin definition, and then a component that I want to kind of package and make available. So here the component is really just an iframe that points at tetris.com, but this could be something much more complicated. So the goal will be basically to take this custom component that does not exist in my demo React Chat code base and integrate it through, registering this plugin and having it be available on my window. The main TS file here is really just responsible for doing that kind of registering. So it's going to take this VF plugin property and it's going to initialize it if it doesn't exist already, or it's going to extend it if it does exist already to include our new plugin. And the plugin here has just a unique name, and it has this message property. But really, your plugin system could be way more advanced if you want to, again, have multiple message types it exposes, or if you want to have, callbacks or other kinds of lifecycle events that it exposes. You could also include all of those. But a very simple one will just be rendering some kind of a custom message. So to prepare this, all I'm going to do is make sure to build the plugin. So yarn build, which is going to generate this bundle.mjs file. So this is that bundle that contains, if I open it up here, it contains React, so the dependencies to render all of these components. That's a downside here and with Microfrontends, unless you're doing something even more complicated by trying to pull out like a common bundle of dependencies that multiple things will rely on. But this way you can have your code, depend on its own dependencies and not ideally affect anyone else's code, as in like the web chat itself. So I've got my bundle. It's got my special code in it. It's got the React code in it. And then all I'm going to do in order to make that available is inside of my index HTML file, I'm going to add it as a script tag. So this could be, pointing to a file on a CDN. It could be pointing to wherever. But in this case, I'm just making sure to register it. So now it'll register that global plugin. And then everything else is as normal. I'm still running my demo React chat app. So let's just see how we actually enable that. If I go to the demo TSX, we basically just have this catch-all plugin message type, which will render the message passed to us by the plugin. And we have a plugin trace, which looks up the plugin registered on our window based on the plugin type that you're trying to invoke. And if it has a message property on it, so it can render a custom message, then we're pushing a message type with that as part of the payload so that we can render it downstream. But we're basically just saying, hey, you're trying to render a plugin called Tetris. We're going to look up the plugin called Tetris in this VF plugin object. If we find it, then we're going to push that message, the actual components that you want to render, as a custom message. And then we are going to render it here. So what all of that looks like together is, let's see, I think I still have this running. If I open up the network tab here, we can see that there should be a couple of JS files. If I get rid of that, if I look at bundle, oops. Cool. So I can see the plugin bundle was correctly requested. I can see window.vf plugin has my Tetris plugin registered in it. So here's the message, the component basically they'll be using to render my custom message. And then if I say something like, I think open Tetris. Great. So it's activating the Tetris plugin, and then it's rendering that message. So none of the code for how this message gets rendered or like what is in this message was actually contained within my demo React Chat project. It was all contained within that external bundle. So the idea being I can create as many of those external bundles as I want and register them all as plugins. And now I can render 5 different custom message types or something like that. And so to invoke that, all I need to do on my Voiceflow side is just make sure that I'm sending a custom action to activate that plugin, basically. So all I'm doing over here is sending an action called plugin :Tetris. So the plugin prefix is just what that little bit of code that I added to demo React Chat is looking for to distinguish those from other custom action types. It's then pulling that, pulling the Tetris name and then looking that up, as I mentioned before, in the VF plugin object that gets registered on the window. So yeah, that's I would say equivalent to how a micro front end works, but instead of introducing whatever framework or libraries in order to accomplish that, you can just do it with plain old JavaScript, and then you have kind of full control over what is actually being exposed from those plugins, what you want to consume in your plugins, something like that. So I think what I think we should probably do is basically, once this is refined enough of a system, then actually backport this basically into the React Chat and have the ability for anyone to build a plugin as long as it follows like this specification, basically. And so the thing that I would want to do is just make sure that, before we get to that point, we have kind of fully thought about, okay, what are the capabilities we want to plug in to be responsible for? What's a good interface for that? So that we don't get into a place where now we need to release a V2 of that interface and break everyone's project or something. So for now, it's just something that's in that demo React Chat project, kind of as an example of how it could be done. But the end goal is probably to productize that a little bit more so that it's much easier for anyone to build a plugin and not have to actually modify the React Chat code in order to get that to work.